Okay, so when you got serious, did you anticipate how it would affect your friends and family, career, and the rest of your real life? Because that's another big thing. We all know that writing impacts our real life quite a bit. And sometimes negative, sometimes positive. I would say for the most part negative. Maybe not. But I mean, it's a little bit like an addiction. People compare it to an addiction. And, I think a lot of us don't necessarily think about that when we start out.
Um, yes, writing, I like to call it my crack cocaine. If I don't get my daily writing fix, I get mean. Very mean. It's interesting because when I went to Odyssey, I actually made friends with people who are writers. And as I just mentioned, I'm a hermit, and being sociable is not really my thing. So it was the first time I actually had friends who understood what I was about. When I went to Seton Hill University, I got my Master of Arts in Writing Popular Fiction. And again, I made more friends who are writers of all different genres. And it actually helped my family relationships. My family was actually able to see just how serious about it I was and am still. And it has been an incredibly positive thing for my family and friends. And having said that I'm a hermit by choice, the last few years I've suddenly somehow developed a social life without my knowing. It just kind of happened, and kind of like there are times I actually wish I didn't have a social life, but I would never give up my friends because most of my friends are also writers, and it's so invaluable to me, and it's I think is done nothing but enrich my life. Being a writer and having a writing life and writing friends.
Oh, that's great. That's good to hear. So, Vidya.
No, I didn't. I think actually more than writing. I mean, when I was in undergrad, and I think even through grad school, I actually did a lot of writing, and I was able to kind of focus on that and studying and stuff pretty easily for the most part. I think it was harder in grad school, but I mean, after I started working and I started kind of making more time for my friends and my family a lot more by then. I think that cut into my writing time, I think, as opposed to the other way around. Or not just my writing time. I was able to do NaNoWriMo. I think that one of the reasons I liked that so much is that it really did help me kind of focus on having that writing time every single day, or almost every single day. But other than that, I think a lot of times it seems like my writing suffered more from, and I mean, I love the rest of my life also. I love my friends, I love my family, but, well, most of the time, but, but I mean, it's been harder to, I think, keep up. I know I'm not writing as much as I used to during undergrad, and I mean, it's just different, but I feel like my writing times, it's probably cut into my writing time more than the other way around.
Well, I mean, but if you have, you're like, oh, I should be writing, that could probably affect your friends and family and your real life as well.
There is that too.
Yeah.
And I mean, it does affect it sometimes, and I know the point where it tends to be most prominent, I think, is when I am doing NaNoWriMo, because I am setting that time aside every single day. It's a little bit easier to do that, I think, because everybody's doing that at the same time, everybody who's in NaNoWriMo, so it's not just you. But at the same time, I mean, I have had family members talk about, well, they didn't expect me to be locked up in my room for this many hours at a time. Or that, when are you going to come down for dinner?
I didn't really realize that it would affect my outside life at all. I never really thought about quitting my day job. I like my day job. I sort of had this idea that writing was a very solitary activity, and that I would just stay up late or get up early. That's a lie, getting up early. And I'm fortunate to have a very supportive partner who doesn't mind me, sitting up and typing away instead of doing the dishes. So I wasn't really expecting any kind of social impact, which has been huge, actually. I've started going to conventions. I go to Boscone and ReaderCon because those are local to me. And I've started meeting other writers, and I spend a lot of time online, chatting. I'm a member of Codex Writers Group, as a couple of you are. Go onto the forums there, go into the chat room there, and spend probably far too much time chatting. And so there's been a huge impact on my social life that I just never saw coming at all.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, I agree. Like, I never saw it coming either for me.
Maybe I don't know. Like it was always sort of part of what I was doing. I mean, even when I was in elementary school, my friends all thought they wanted to be writers, and then there was that period when they slowly, one by one, realized that this was too much work and they didn't actually like it. But I don't really have any frame of reference for how it's affected my life. I'm pretty sure that if I wasn't writing, I would have just chosen some other ridiculous hobby to spend all my time on. I mean, maybe I'd be a painter or a musician or something. I don't know. I'm sure there would be something. Maybe I'd make collages cut out of 17 magazine. I don't know.
That's a good way to look at it. Seems like a good, healthy way to look at it. Yeah. I mean, yeah, for me, I keep thinking it's a little bit more negative than positive because it's affected my career quite a bit. I feel like, so I went into like a pretty high stakes career where you kind of have to be on top of it all the time. It's not a 9-to-5 job. And because I never really put 100% into that career, I feel like I've fallen behind where I could have been. And so that's kind of a choice I made consciously, and I don't really regret it, but it's still something I didn't anticipate, and maybe I wish I'd thought it out a little bit more, or at least considered all of the ramifications when I started taking writing very seriously. But of course, I also thought, oh, I'll be published by the time I'm 25, so...
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't think it would have that big an impact. But yeah, as far as the social life goes, I agree. It's been, a lot of my friends are writers, and I feel like writers are such a strong, supportive community. And I just get along so well with y'all. And I haven't really felt that sense of community so much in other fields that I've been in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm an artist, and I don't feel it quite the same way in the art field.